नमस्कार दोस्तों, आपका स्वागत है देश हित न्यूज़ चैनल में। दोस्तों कृपया करके हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब, लाइक करें और शेयर करें ताकि देश विदेश की खबरें आप तक पहुंच सके। धन्यवाद दोस्तों।
Time for Focus, and today we head to Pakistan, where each year hundreds of people, mostly Hindus, are forced to convert to Islam. To address this problem, the Sindh province recently passed a bill that criminalizes forced religious conversions, but it's been labelled anti-Islam by two hardline Islamic parties, and they want lawmakers to amend it. Taha Siddiqui and Jasmine Lavoie report.
This mother has not heard from her daughter for over 2 years. While the teenager was playing with other children in this Hindu village in southern Pakistan, a group of men came and kidnapped her.
They came and took my daughter away. It was a nearby Muslim family. We went to get her back and were able to get her. But they came back and said she is married in our family and converted. The second time they came, they took her at gunpoint.
For teenage girls in Pakistan's Sindh province, such violence is a common occurrence. There, nearly 1,000 underage girls from minority religions are forced to convert to Islam each year. To criminalize these kidnappings, forced conversions, and forced weddings, the government recently introduced a new law.
Mechanism of complaint, definition and punishment, everything is there.
Even though the law was passed unanimously by the Sindh Assembly, the provincial government has now come under pressure to withdraw a clause that religious lobbies have labeled anti-Islam. The clause prevents anyone under the age of 18 from converting their religion.
The religious leaders are objecting to the age. They say there should not be any age, and a person can be converted at any age. To be pressurized by a group who does not have a representation in the assembly and who are just a few % of the total population, just for the votes or vote bank, if it is being reviewed, we don't like it really.
This madrasa, or Quranic school in Karachi, is known for its hardliner and intolerant Islamic ideology. Over 5,000 children study here.
Please stand up and recite some Quranic verses.
The head cleric here is at the forefront of the campaign against this new law. He believes that forced conversions rarely happen.
We will stand against this law. The whole nation will not accept this. We will take the roads to protest. I think this law would end their government and they will not even be able to win the next elections too.
Nearly 3 million Hindus live in Pakistan's Sindh province. These onion fields have belonged to Parak's family for generations. Many Hindus in this area have left for India due to threats from Muslim extremists.
We're Hindus. They say we're a minority and infidels. The Muslims here are more in number and way more powerful. The landlords are also Muslim and they use their power to influence us. If we go to the courts, the judges there are also Muslim. So is everyone in the police. There is no one to hear our voice. Whenever something unlawful is done against us, everyone favors them.
Parak's family also wants to leave Pakistan as soon as possible. They have obtained fresh passports and Indian visas.
God only knows what this law will become. They passed it to protect us Hindus, but now they want to repeal it. Muslims are in majority in this country. They can do whatever they want. That's the reason we're saying that there is no justice for us here.
The Pakistani government estimates that each year, 5,000 Hindus leave the country for neighboring India.
For more on this, I'm now joined by South Asia expert Jean-Luc Racine. Hello, thanks for coming in. Now, the hardline Islamic parties opposed to this forced conversions law. Do you think they'll end up getting their way? They want an amendment. Do you think that they will get their way because of how much pressure they're putting on the authorities?
Well, first of all, there is something tricky, of course, in the Islamist discourse, and it's not the first time that it does happen. They say that they are against the impossibility of conversion. But the law is not about conversion. The law is against forced conversion. And it makes all the difference because the specificity of this law, which is not yet confirmed by the governor of Sindh, which means that for the time being, yes, and it's absolutely remarkable, the Sindh Legislative Assembly has passed the bill, but it's not yet an act. One. Two, we have seen that, strangely enough, the former Pakistani president, Mr. Zardari, who is expecting to be elected in a by-election in a few weeks from now, and whose party is governing Sindh after having governed Pakistan but has lost power years ago, has just said immediately after the Assembly passed the bill that, well, we hear a discourse of people who are unsatisfied and we'll try to see how we can accommodate them, which really makes no sense from the traditional policy of its party. That's the first remark. The second one is that I would suggest that we are really seeing some interesting development, because what's happened in Sindh, whatever be the final result, in a way, is an echo of what has happened in the large province of Punjab in February last year, 2016, when here again the local assembly passed a bill against violence against women, including domestic violence. And here again, the Islamist side say, well, this is against the constitution, this is against Sharia, this is against Islam. So what we are just addressing right now is a kind of unexpected debate, not between the liberal civil society and the Islamist political movement, but between people who are elected, who are mainstream. So in a way, things start to change as far as the status of women is concerned, but clearly the battle is not ended with this law.
Just to zoom in again just on the issue of forced conversions, we, of course, in this report, we're talking about the Sindh province, but is it an issue nationwide, and just how big of an issue?
Yeah, well, we have a credible NGO who estimate that there are, let's say, around 1,000 cases every year in Pakistan as a whole. But of course, Sindh here is in the forefront because those forced conversion, by definition, address young girls who are from religious minorities. Hindus, but also Christian eventually in villages. So we are, on the one hand, at the crisscrossing of two parameters. One is clearly the traditional feudal society of when a big man wants to have a girl, he got it. And two, of course, it's much easier to get it if it's from a discriminated religious minority. And that's, in a way, the sociological background. So it's really significant that the mainstream legislator have passed this bill, but once again, the story is not ended with that.
Now, at the end of the report, we heard how thousands of Hindus leave the country. 5,000 Hindus leave Pakistan for India every year. This probably one of the reasons, the forced conversions. What are the other reasons?
Well, you know, there are clearly quite a number of discrimination against religious minorities. There is the question of blasphemy law, which has targeted mostly Christian, but we must not forget that the main target of the blasphemy law are Muslims also, not just Christian. And there is clearly a feeling amongst those minorities, and the Hindus are more numerous than Christian in Sindh, that, and I think the peasant which gave this interview in the report was very clear, saying, well, if we turn to the police, nothing will happen. If by chance it goes up to the court, nothing will really happen because there is pressure both on the policemen and on justice. And it does explain that migration to India is gaining momentum, and it's also a part of the Hindu nationalist government in New Delhi, led by Narendra Modi, who is opening India doors to Hindu migrants, be they come from Bangladesh or from Pakistan.
What about Nawaz Sharif on this issue? Because he raised the plight of religious minorities when he first came to office. What's changed since then, since 2013?
Well, it's always the old question of discourse and what's done, really. There is another issue, which was this documentary on the so-called honor killings by a Pakistani filmmaker who got an Oscar last year. The film was shown in Nawaz Sharif house. Even if there was a debate with people saying, well, this filmmaker had just given a bad name to Pakistan. So Sharif is certainly online with that, but for political reason and on a much broader scale, the observation is valid. I would tend to believe on the fight against extremism or de-radicalization and jihadism is that there are a number of political interests. Even which play a role in keeping the political mainstream pretty careful on those issues. So we are in a way, it's a time of a transition where we see that things are moving, but there is always the final decision to be taken by political leaders.
All right, thank you very much indeed for your time and your analysis, Jean-Luc Racine. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for Focus. That's it from me for now. I'll be back at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.